a lot of different elements, and then those elements need to be developed correctly. Yeah? No rules, but things that have been proven that they work. Yeah? In how you further develop things. Yeah? What is your target audience? How does the film cater to them? And what are film history references? You know, because this is my target audience and this film is this type of genre, then how can I look at other films, and also if they were received well or not that well by audiences in the creative choices that I make. Yeah? Film is art, film is also business. Yeah? So I'm not going as far as saying that creative development is also, you know, like a SWOT analysis. You guys know this? SWOT analysis. Strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats. Yeah? I'm not saying that you need to go that far, but you need to have that mindset as well. Yeah? Which is a very economic way of looking at your product. Yeah. How can you preemptively see production difficulties, and how can you preemptively develop a coherent artistic vision? Yeah. If it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, looks like a duck, maybe it's a duck. And how can you then develop things further to make sure that it's a duck and people don't go like, is that a goose? How to do creative development. Essential questions about any project. Who is watching? Which is not a target audience question. It's different. It's from inside of your story. Who's watching? Through whose eyes, literally, or at least symbolically, are we entering the story? Are we looking at how the events unfold? Yeah? It's a question of perspective. It's a question of storytelling perspective. It's a question of camera perspective. It's a question of lighting perspective. It's a question of audio perspective. It has a lot of ramifications. This question was the first and probably most important thing that I was taught by a producer where I was starting out in the industry as a creative developer. Yeah? And he asked me this question every time. Yeah, who's watching? Yeah? I would start talking about structure. I was young and eager, you know, and about characters and about dramatic wants and dramatic needs, you know, and all of these things that are also part of, you know, basic fundamental storytelling theory. Yeah? And he would, you know, and he would listen to me and go like, very good, very good. Caribbean man, yeah. So not as dark as here in Uganda, but, you know, big, originally African man, generations. He would sit at me, he would look at me and go like, but who's watching? Yeah, very important question. What is the arena? Question.
Yes. Is it potentially an issue if you have multiple perspectives? Say maybe like 13 perspectives in your 5 minutes.
Rashomon. Rashomon is the film history example of what you say now. Film by Akira Kurosawa, great, renowned Japanese filmmaker. Yeah, and it tells it's sort of like a detective. It's trying to figure out a murder, and it tells that story from 4 different perspectives. Yeah. Yeah. You've seen it? Yeah. You're starting to see why film history and film theory are important in everything that we do. Because if I don't have that vocabulary, you tell this to me, 13 characters, I'm like, I don't know, like what does my gut feeling say? And my gut feeling can be right or wrong, yeah? But Rashomon, that won the Palme d'Or in 1960 in Cannes, then and probably still now the most prestigious festival in the world. I would say that it is more important for a Ugandan filmmaker to one day win a Palme d'Or than for Tembele, which I hope will do very well, and if it gets the Oscar, fantastic. But I would say that the future of filmmaking in this country is way more dependent when does a Ugandan film win a prize at one of those prestigious European festivals. Cannes, Venice, Berlin, probably. Because it's artistic filmmaking, which is the future of this country, and I'm sure about it. Yeah. Yeah. So the answer is yes. The answer is it is not a problem. Yes, it is not a problem. Yes, it can be done, even in a short. But then again, how do you compress things? Yeah? Okay. What is your arena? And when we talk about arena, we talk about where is your story happening and when is your story happening. And to add to that, is it a certain type of environment? To give you guys an example, an arena could be 1980s Kampala police drama. That's an arena in itself, because for me it has a lot of connotations. I immediately have to think of cop films. Yeah? I immediately have to think of television series like Law and Order. Yeah? Yeah? The arena could be the year 2040 in Fort Portal, and I immediately, but if everything in your film has already been done, then why do you do it? Yeah? Some people say that all stories have already been told. All stories have already been told, just the way that we tell them keeps on changing. And that is very significant, because if the way we keep telling them keeps on changing, then they will continue to have relevance for new audiences in new times, in new political, social, economical circumstances. Yeah? But if everything that you do has already been done, maybe not do it. Yeah. Basic questions like who is your protagonist, who's your antagonist, who are your supporting characters, what are their dramatic wants and dramatic needs? Have you guys talked about this before? Dramatic want and dramatic need? So we don't have to go into detail about that. What is the main conflict? How does it play out? Also clear. Does your story have dramatic irony? And specifically, when talking about dramatic irony, is there an information advantage or disadvantage of your audience compared to your characters, or the other way around? Does your audience know stuff that your protagonist doesn't know yet? Or do your characters know stuff that your audience does not know yet? Specifically for short films, this can be very important, especially if you want to do a twist in the end, you know, and basically change the entire way we were actually supposed to be looking at the story. Yeah? Famous examples, all the films by M. Night Shyamalan. Yeah? Because he always does this trick. Yeah? The fancy word in story theory about what he continues to do is delayed exposition. He withholds critical story information from the audience. Bruce Willis has been dead the entire film. Yeah? Oh, sorry. Usually I say spoiler alert, but yeah. Yeah. What is the scene that works best and forms the core of your story? Why and how? There should be at least one scene that you are tremendously in love with. Not being in love like killing your darling, but being in love because it so captures the essence of the film that you want to make. If your film doesn't have that scene, then you need to do more writing before you go shoot. You need to be in love with at least one scene. Like, you need to be in love with your characters as well. If you don't love your characters, even if they're bad people, by the way, yeah? But you need to love them for being bad people, and how being bad people enables you to tell a story about bad people becoming good people, or, you know, somebody overcoming bad people, or whatever it is, yeah? Okay, that's a lot of talking. Now let's go to an exercise. And the exercise is your projects. I want you guys to make small groups, which can be partners, maybe it can be fellow partners added with some person who is not a fellow. Then we would have little groups of 3, yeah? What I want you guys to do, ask yourself creative development questions. You know, I'm going to go back to the slides so that you can have them on screen as you talk about it. Yeah? Ask yourself these creative development questions about your projects. Note down insights in those projects about yourself and about your partner or partner's projects. Yeah? So, little groups. 2 fellows and 1 non-fellow. I think there are enough non-fellows here that works out. Yeah? We should have at least 5 groups then. And talk about your project, ask yourself these questions, and note down insights. Okay? We got like 15 minutes to do this. 10, 15 minutes. You don't have to do all of them. You can pick and choose. Yeah? Oh, and of course you can spread out, like people are already starting to do. You don't have to be huddled up and hear a bunch of noise in the background. Use the space.
You can use each other's space.
Yeah. This looks like a big group. Oh no, people are leaving again. Yeah? Okay. These questions. And you don't need to answer all of them. You can, you know, pick and choose, ask each other questions, you know. Maybe start by very briefly through your Ladies and gentlemen, 1 second. Maybe start very briefly with your log line or a very condensed synopsis, telling each other about your projects, and then go through these questions, pick and choose, observe, and make some notes.
Shows the journey of a wink going from person to person on a university campus. It is later revealed that the wink is a metaphor for HIV and how rapidly and easily it spreads. So that's my log line. So answering these questions.
which is common in trauma victims. Because
When the husband was
What was that?
Yeah, I'm inquiring. She gave us the synopsis and everything.
Hmm.
The insight, okay, the answer to those questions, are we supposed to take it as from our perspective or it's a collective effort? Or she's the one who's supposed to answer that? Should I tell them or should they tell me what they think based on my...
This is a dialogue.
Okay.
This is dialogue because it can, for instance, be, you know, like, oh, when I hear that, for me, what I get from that is that this and this and this is your arena, you know, and then you might be, oh, somebody sees that in my story. I didn't even see that myself yet, yeah? Or it could be that one of you asked the question, does the story have dramatic irony? Is there like information advantage, disadvantage? You answer that, and they go like, oh, because you might do a nice magic trick in how you work with that. You go like, oh, okay, that's interesting. And that's actually insightful for me as a filmmaker in learning from that, yeah? Okay.
So,
That was me. It's gone.
You say that, but it's all you can. Like not necessarily you can. Everyone.
Because that's something that is common in every family, in every family.
Because you said maybe like a girl. Maybe they think love is the grandma. Yes. I'm asking myself this question.
oh, they're going to force him. They're going to force her out.
yes. So they cross her, they grab her, and the man starts raping her.
All of them are there.
Yes. One is cutting the hands, one the other one is cutting the leg, and the husband is cutting his wife. So all of that mentally this story is not
I actually think of that.
I've been here before, but I don't. Oh yeah, restroom up, right? Yeah. Oh yeah. Thank you.
school policy.
Representation, the head teacher represents the school. So this can be attacking the school. It's actually it's a child in this movie. We who are watching the film, who are watching that film through the child's eyes, seeing the story. That's the that's the who's watching. Singa abadde wa police mu office.
Sometimes you have no choice but to trust how you stand yourself. So like as much as she went and said,
Maybe there might be disadvantage for the owners because some people might not immediately understand the metaphor until like the end. Yeah. They might not be like, oh, the wink represents the spread of HIV. They might just be like, until maybe until like the very end, they're like, oh, now I get it.
Yes, like, yes, this has to do with the people's perspective, how you see things and how we see it. So it's maybe at the end of the film, or if it gets back to the protagonist, because that's the film will end, and then you see him maybe having the HIV apps,
The HIV what?
like the HIV apps. They're called apps or apps. Like, okay, it's something that.
So let's do 5 more minutes. If you haven't changed at all yet, if you're still at the first project, then maybe at least do a second project in your group. If you have already done 2 projects, then maybe change so that you do a third project. Yeah? Cupcake.
I don't know what they picked it from.
Hello. How are you? Is this what you envisioned when you asked me? We got 2 more minutes.
So which means you feel that you're promoting, you're trying to tell this story here. What? You can refuse to put my way. At the end, you can even make me know. Those are the character maybe like for instance. So you come and tell me this one. Because maybe the thing is the friends that are not when you share more, she was forced by this one, then the case of is following what? The school, and then
Remember the first one was supposed to be the the boyfriend that's down.
So if you guys finish up discussing what you're discussing now and then get back here.
no, but like the scene I feel like from like the best for me is the last minute part. This guy touches the guy back to the carpet. Don't do it. Like if I did what will you do? Like example, using the kick in the ball. Okay, remove. Now, if I remove that part of the in the box, nothing will happen. If you're not around,
like the way you can see that this person is now this person and then someone else yes, because they're here to see that the person I know like it's spiritual, isn't it? It's spiritual. Yeah, but story
People in the back. So what you guys have just experienced is just a taste, right? Just a taste of the types of conversations that you can have about projects. It was never meant that you go through all the questions and have all the answers and stuff, but this can be a starting point if you are not currently having conversations like this about your project, also with each other. I'm looking at the fellows and at our other guests that are more than invited to be part of that continuous conversation. Then have those conversations with each other, because they sharpen your idea. They sharpen what you want to do. Based on what you just discussed, I have 3 questions for you. You don't have to answer all 3, and I don't have to hear everyone. But what have you learned about your project, if your project was discussed? Or what have you learned about another person's project that you find insightful? Yeah? Or what have you learned about the mechanics, how this stuff works when you have creative development conversations like this? Who wants to start? What have you learned? Kate.
What I've learned about my project is that What I've learned about my project is that the previous draft creative development is a little bit better than the current one. So I have to go back and re-edit.
Yes, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
Do we have any editors in the room? Video editors, people that edit, at least sometimes. Yeah? Yeah, we do. Do you guys recognize this when working on an edit, that you go beyond a certain point and it doesn't get better anymore, it only gets different, and actually when you do a sort of A and B comparison for somebody who hasn't seen your edit yet, they like the previous version better. Ever happened to you? Yeah? 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 So here we see creative development does not stop, it's in all phases of filmmaking, and they have similar dynamics. We can overdevelop, we can go too far, and then we have to pull back. Very interesting.
Then what I've learned about my partner's project is that he has many ideas of conflict, many aspects of conflict in his story.
And what was insightful for you about that?
What was insightful is that this case of where the main character is being told by her aunt not to move out of the house, but the main character moves out and she later gets a problem along the road.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Very good. Very interesting. Thank you. Who else? Always applause, always welcome. Yeah. Who else?
Yeah, so what I've learned about my partner's project, and I think the most exciting thing about it is that she told a story that we will say we have seen or heard 1,000 times, but how she told it is really very different. It's I got enticed when I have to see through someone else's perspective, or it's more of playing with my psychology, you know. It took me a little while to understand, but when I finally did, I was like, wow, this is really crazy. So it's how the story, how the same story can be told differently, but effectively.
And if you have to narrow it down, what out of these questions makes for you the most, you know, like, oh wow, that's interesting.
Yes.
About that project.
About my partner's project.
Yeah.
Yes. So I would say that the one that narrowed the most is what is the arena? Yes. Because I realized the arena of our story, however, is at a campus. It's the everyday life. It can happen at a hospital, at a work, anywhere actually. It can even happen here and we all get messed up, you know? So it's exciting. She can shoot it anywhere in case you fail to get a campus. Yeah. Yes, so it's really quite, you know, you played a lot with my mathematics, I don't know, my brain, but it was exciting when I understood it. Yeah, so maybe the last question you put back to then what I can say what I've learned, let me not answer about my own project.
Okay.
Yes, the mechanics of the creative development. It's through this 15 minutes of the experience, I've actually learned that I have a very good script, but I needed a bunch of other more creative brains to help me think broader, to create something more impactful. And I got to learn a whole lot from these 15 minutes, how I can tell it, you know, from the audience perspective. What is the message? The message I was conveying out, they pulled out something even better.
Yeah. Oh, maybe dial it back a little bit, guys. Yeah? No, not you. Maybe the sound guys can dial it back a little bit. Yeah.
So they got out the best message out of my film that
Yeah.
I wasn't able to see.
Yes.
So that excited me. I was like, okay, they are my audience.
Yes.
And if I can tell it that way, oh wow, thank you.
You have hit the nail on the head. If there was a prize for learning today, you would definitely be one of the winners. Yeah, of course, everybody's a winner, and everybody already got their, you know, invisible artist badge, so it's all good. But the nail on the head is that in creative development, we usually need another person being the voice of our audience. Because, of course, we are our own audience, yeah? But we understand everything because we are us, yeah? Very interesting, very good, thank you. Yep.
She was talking about my project,
Mm-hmm.
and she mentioned that she said when I got it, it was great, and as I was explaining it, I could see on their faces that they were like, they didn't say